two lies that are being told about XRP right now. One, that the supply shock scenario is not in play anymore. And two, RUSD is going to replace XRP. A lot of intellectual dishonesty from people who proclaim that RUSD will replace XRP. And then a lot of people who are still ignoring what's about to happen with the supply of XRP being soaked up by ETFs, digital asset treasury companies, and then just more people that are going to look to speculate on XRP going to higher prices. The setup is still there, and we're going to break it down in today's update. Not going to waste any time, straight on into it. But come on back tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern for our full live show, where we'll recap what happened today in the markets, and we'll have a Q&A session for you guys as well. President Trump says that we are in the middle of final negotiations to end the Iran war. So this comes out this morning right before the market opens up, sends Dow Jones to a new all-time high, breaks oil down to about $91 per barrel, but it's already back up to about 92, 82 as I record this update here. So I'm still in my oil long. That's still in profit. I'm still calling BS. To me, the plan here is to blow that door wide open is the metaphor that I keep on using, and I think that that's right around the corner with that escalation. So happy to be wrong. Hopefully we get a peace deal. I don't see it till we absolutely hammer them to open up the Strait of Hormuz. That's just me. You guys let me know if you agree or disagree. We have massive outflows out of the Bitcoin ETFs. They're on an outflow streak of 13 trading days in a row with outflows that total 4.4 billion. 17 of the last 19 trading days have been outflows almost 5.6 billion. And that is, on top of Michael Saylor and many other people selling a little bit of Bitcoin. Remember, it was never sell your Bitcoin, mortgage your house to buy Bitcoin. And now Saylor's selling Bitcoin. Not the big deal, and I think that it's kind of being overblown, but it sent a signal and obviously a ripple effect through the markets. And a lot of people are just looking at their bag of Bitcoin wondering, what utility does it actually have? Why am I holding this? And we were really scoffed at, hated for saying, 5 years ago when I started making content, and even before that, as I, talked with people about crypto, I said, if you want to hold Bitcoin, great. If you're into Bitcoin, fantastic. For me, I don't see a reason to have it in my portfolio. I think I'll get better gains in other cryptocurrencies. And that's exactly what played out for XRP and some of the other plays that we've had. But we're rooting for it, sure. I think that a lot of people are just having a good, honest look at Bitcoin and saying, what is the utility? What's the play here? Basically, it's the greater fool theory. You got to find somebody else to be your exit liquidity. And we're watching that continue to accelerate the sell-off that took place last 24, 48 hours. Speaking of ETFs, they're on the way to iTrust Capital. Saw this post today from them. Stocks and ETFs coming soon. The only thing that's going to be left is prediction markets on iTrust Capital. I mean, that's the only thing that they're not going to have. Bringing it together with their IRA platform, the premium custody account, the treasury account. But they'll be adding stocks and ETFs. They already do have precious metals as well. Use my link down below when you're signing up for iTrust Capital to get the $100 funding bonus. But we have a total of 1.8 billion in levered crypto positions wiped out yesterday, the largest daily crypto liquidation since January of 2026. You guys know I'm still a gambler. I'm still in an XRP long. It has not been liquidated. And actually, I just added to my position at $1.33 and $1.22. I added to my spot bag of XRP at $1.21. And I just am so happy that this played out. We had real conviction behind our analysis. We stayed patient. We didn't fall for the bull trap rallies. And I want you to recognize, how many times were you told in the past 3 months that the bull run was on, that the bottom was in, bull runs on, and pile back in? Right, a lot of people were told that, and we stayed the course even when it wasn't popular, even when it wasn't the best clickbait content that I could put out, right? People don't want to hear it. But there's a difference between real analysis, and it's paid off. We didn't buy into the bull trap rallies back up to $1.50, $1.60, and even on this one right here, when we broke out of consolidation, we said not so fast. And my red box, it has been filled down to $1.14 yesterday. That is the target that we had. The timing off. But did we change our prediction that we were going to come back down to this level? No. Did we buy into the rallies above $1.50? No. Did we keep our orders at $1.33, $1.20? Am I still sitting on a big fat buy order right above $1? You better believe it. And so our analysis paid off, our patience paid off. And in that same way, to the upside, right, we will be rewarded for that as well, too. So just want to recognize that there's a big difference out here between the people that only can put out hopium and don't have real analysis, pretending and playing around out here, and those who actually stick to their guns and make real money in these markets. Institutional grade stablecoins just went multi-chain. Wormhole, expanding RUSD utility and liquidity, now live across ecosystems via Wormhole's native token transfers. This is bringing us multi-chain, over 40 chains, they say. Love to see it. We're not done. RUSD now live on the XRP Ledger EVM sidechain. Now, this is so important. Ripple issued RUSD on Ethereum because that's where all of the liquidity was at for smart contracts and DeFi. When you look over the past 5 years, there's been a lot of institutions that said they were already building on Ethereum. And in particular, you're talking about the EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine. That's what runs the smart contracts, right? And so the XRP Ledger EVM sidechain allows us to bridge that over. And Ripple issuing Ethereum, RUSD on Ethereum also allows us to bridge that gap as well. But like I said, we were going to be addressing two big fat lies that keep on getting shared around out here on the interwebs and YouTube, etc. And it's a lot of dishonesty, a lot of people who just simply don't understand the fact that you can't use the XRP ledger without using XRP. And it's leading to a lot of people to regurgitate these lies. And we just need to stop it. You need to stop. Okay, I mean, if you don't understand the basics of the ledger, you need to stop. Okay, and let's break it down. Does this mean that XRP will be used in the transaction flow? Yes, XRP is always used since it's technically impossible to use the XRP ledger without using XRP. XRP also has a privileged position on the XRP ledger as it is used for fees, reserves, and auto-bridging purposes. Now, this is a retweet from Krippenreiter of the XRP Ledger Foundation talking about MasterCard plans to expand its integration with the XRP Ledger to support always-on settlements and time-sensitive intraday payment flows. The move will leverage the XRP Ledger's near-instant finality, predictable low fees, and proven 14-year track record. And it doesn't happen without XRP. VET, one of our validators, you have it completely wrong if you think issued assets on the XRP ledger like RUSD or USDC are in competition with XRP. I'm going to repeat for the people in the back that need to get it through their heads. You have it completely wrong. This is from somebody who's a validator, who understands the technical aspect of this way deeper than I do. Right? And he's telling everybody who's been spreading this crap FUD about RUSD replacing XRP. It's absolutely nonsense. It's absurd. People should be embarrassed to actually be putting out that content. Just so we're clear. If you've watched any of that content, all that FUD, they should be ashamed of themselves and embarrassed for putting it out. Because it's so simple. You can't use the XRP ledger without using XRP in the privileged position that it holds. That explains. The XRP ledger is a multi-asset ledger and in itself a decentralized exchange. Predictable fees, and XRP aggregating liquidity via auto-bridging. Sometimes a volatile asset like XRP is great if you want profit from a change in price. Equally, there are many cases where you don't want volatility, and stablecoins fill that gap. We needed the stablecoins, and no, they don't compete with XRP, not at all. Now, so we have that out of the way. And if you can't tell, I maybe just, am a little bit frustrated with some of this nonsense, right? Because you battle FUD as a content creator here for 5 years. And this is FUD that we actually took down 4 or 5 years ago. Some of the content creators that came before me were breaking down this FUD back in 2018. And here we are in 2026. And Joe Blow, content creator on YouTube, says RUSD is going to replace XRP. And these people just run with it. It's absolutely false. It's not true. Just like the lies that are being told that the supply shock scenario is still not in play. Take it not from me, but this is from Grayscale's managing director of research. says that he expects XRP ETFs to absorb 5 to 6% of the entire circulating supply of XRP. He's on the Paul Barron podcast. Take a listen.
Percent or so at any given month. I think probably that's the shorter term direction of travel for XRP. Other altcoins is heading in that direction of total assets, and then probably more growth over time. But I would expect to get to 5-6% of the outstanding circulating supply, and then we'll see. We'll see what investor appetite looks like over time.
When you say to 5 to 6% of outstanding supply of both assets, accumulative or each individual asset?
Meaning the XRP ETFs collectively hold, 5 to 6% of the circulating supply of the XRP token, something like that would be a big round number guess. As a starting point, I think we're heading in that direction. I think XRP has seen, as you said, lots of demand. I think there's a good chance that, or certainly a higher number in the ETF structure is possible.
And you have to understand that nuance, circulating supply. What that means is it's even, larger than 4 to 5% of the total supply, right? Because the circulating supply is only 60 billion. So I don't have the exact number. Maybe somebody can comment down below. What is 4 to 5% of the existing circulating supply? We've already crossed over 1.2% of the circulating supply already. So we're already heading that direction. But the reason why this is so important and why it leads to supply shock is because you're talking about taking away available float. That's what's so critical. And this is one of the big variables that people miss when they're doing the $10 XRP math and why XRP will never go to $10, why XRP can't go to whatever, is they're looking at total supply or they're looking at the total circulating supply instead of understanding that the available float, just like you would when you're evaluating a stock, you would look at the available float of any given stock and you would ask yourself, how much is actually out here available for people to purchase? And you have to ask the same question with XRP. And so when you're talking about, institutional researchers and managing director here from Grayscale saying 4 to 5% of the total circulating supply, you're talking about stripping out a huge chunk of the available float of XRP. What this does is it drives up that market cap multiplier, as we've shown you guys in the past, when, all it takes is 10, 20, $30 million coming into XRP aggressively, and it leads to XRP's market cap growing by, billions and tens of billions of dollars, right? It's not a 1-to-1 ratio. For XRP to go to a trillion or $10 trillion market cap, we do not need a trillion or 5 trillion of inflows. That's not how the maths. And, we've been battling this FUD. We've put the data points in front of a lot of people, and yet people still want to talk about market cap and the limitations. And it's absolute dishonesty at best, poor math at best, and it's dishonesty at worst. And that's what we're addressing with the RUSD replacing XRP FUD as well. So take the time to understand how the XRP ledger works. Take the time to understand how markets actually move and how liquidity drives these assets. It's not going to take trillions and trillions of dollars coming into XRP to see XRP to go to trillions of dollars of market cap. That's just not how the math works. We've shown the data time and time again. Hopefully, someday the XRP FUD will stop, but in the meantime, it allows us to address the FUD head on. We'll always jump on that opportunity so that you guys can remain educated on what actually moves these markets. It's all coming back to liquidity. And when that liquidity starts to rotate over, you're seeing it flow out of Bitcoin ETFs, and you're seeing the Anthropic and the OpenAI, SpaceX IPO suck the oxygen out of the room right now. And all of the fear from the Iran war. But as soon as all of this passes, right, that liquidity flows back in, it's going to come in aggressively to XRP, and it's absolutely going to lead to supply shock and price explosion. That's still in play. And so we're still loading up in the meantime. Thank you very much for $1.20 XRP. We'll be scooping that up. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you make of this, if you agree with me. And we'll be back live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern for the live show. Appreciate all of you guys. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.